somehow my lighting appears to be really good on my viewfinder anyway, so fingers crossed it transfers to the actual screen. If not, I don't care, at least I'm filming. Hi everyone! Today I'm here with my February wrap up. I'm kind of switching up how I'm doing my wrap ups. Last month for January I did Average Joe January, where I read books all picked by or inspired by my wonderful friend Joe from Average Joe Reads. And there were a couple books, he only gave me a short list, and there were a couple that I was still reading in January, so I spoke about them. Shut up. I was still reading them in February, so I spoke about them in my January wrap up because it was for Average Joe January. However, February, or rather FEBrowsing for books, as it is now known, Cerys from Browsing for Books gave me a lot to choose from. There were something like 68 books, and even the shortlisted like 12 or something that I picked out I didn't finish, and I'm still reading. So while I'm still reading some of the books I can say she now because we know who it is, some of the books that Cerys picked I will be reading throughout the year. So I'm just going to talk about what I read in February minus ones I already spoke about, and then March when I talk about my, can't tell you the name of it because it'll spoil whose books I'm reading, I'll also mention some of the ones from Cerys. Basically it's just going to be a normal wrap up, monthly wrap up, but some books will be picked by some friends and some another. Anyway, we're going to get on to this. I have, if I can math correctly, 7 books to talk about, and we're just going to go from where I started to where I ended, so let's go. So I've been having an impeccable year so far. Both January and February have seen only 3, 4 and 5 stars. I thought it was only 4 and 5 stars, but there have been 3 stars. I have had a couple DNFs, but mostly just because I've not been in the mood, more than like this book is really bad. So we kick off FEBrowsing for Books with a 5-star read, which was Gemina by Amy Kaufman and J. Kristoff. I couldn't figure out why that sounded wrong. It's because I was trying to say J. Kaufman. That's not a person. Everybody knows about the Illuminae series, and I was so against reading the Illuminae series, but I picked up Illuminae. I must have read Illuminae 2 or 3 years ago, maybe longer, I don't know. And I wanted to continue the series, but I didn't have a copy. But for my birthday, Justin from Ghost Reader sent me this, or well, he denies it, but you know, maybe it was his, I was gonna say evil twin, but it would be his good twin. I was sent this for my birthday and I finally read it. I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I lied to you guys, it was a 4-star read. Moving on. Another 4-star read for me was Skellig by David Almond. This was one of Cerys's favourite books when she was growing up or younger, or at some point in her life, I can't remember. I have had this on my TBR for a while. I think it was the second time I went to New York. I went to a bookstore called Book Off where they have books for $1, and they had a beautiful edition of My Name is Mina, so I bought it because it was $1, and then I got home and found out it's like a companion to this. So I bought this so I could read it, so I could then read My Name is Mina. Never read it, still haven't read My Name is Mina, but Cerys gave me an excuse to read it, and the fact that it's middle grade and the fact it was short, I figured it'd be a great idea to pick it. And then of course shit happened in my life and I really struggled to read anything, so like it didn't matter what size of the book I picked. But I enjoyed this, not gonna lie, can't remember very much about it apart from a lot of Chinese food being ordered, and I'm ravenous this evening. Like, I went on a big walk with the dog today and I just want all the food. So now that I've remembered Chinese, I might have to go and get some Chinese food. I realise I'm reverting back to old Emma ways, and by old Emma ways I mean every single Emma book video minus one where I'm not actually telling you what books are about, but you know, my brain doesn't work. Just feel my energy and I don't know. I have my first 5-star read of FEBrowsing for Books, and if you don't actually, I should explain that it's FEBrowsing for Books because Feb You are right, like, it was the best I could do, okay? Trust me, it's getting worse. It's really, they're getting worse as the months go on. We just got a soda stream, and I think I really need to reevaluate how much gas is going into them, because my first 5-star read of the month wasn't actually one that Cerys picked out, but one that I like had to read, and that was Break the Fall by Jennifer Iacopelli. This came out on the 20th of February. I was very kindly sent an ARC. I had gotten a sampler of this at Yalk and really enjoyed what I'd read and wanted to read more, so I asked the publisher for a copy, and they very kindly sent me it, and I just loved it. I am a big fan of gymnastics, despite definitely not having the physique or athleticism or general fitness to be able to do it, so I just enjoy watching it. And I'm I was very excited for Tokyo and watching the Olympics there, but you know, with the way the world is going, is that gonna happen? Who knows? So Break the Fall, I'm gonna be a proper booktuber and tell you guys what the book's about, because you know, kind of what is expected of me when I ask to review a book. Break the Fall follows a girl called Audrey who is trying to make the Olympic team for Tokyo 2020, and stuff happens. So this kind of follows a similar ideal to what happened with the US gymnastics team in real life. It is still this, yes, it's the US gymnastics team in the book. So it kind of follows, if you know US gymnastics, you will probably know the story, where I don't think it was a coach, I believe it was one of the medical, like, physio people on the team was abusing the gymnasts. So we follow Audrey as she's going through the process of being picked for the Olympic team and training for the Olympics, and then this happening, and just how it works, the team dynamic, and going through two sort of really difficult and uncommon situations at the same time. But I really enjoyed this. I thought it did a really good job of explaining gymnastics without it being patronizing. So as somebody who has a vaguely decent understanding of the sport and how scoring works and like certain skills and stuff, I could have went into this without needing things explained, but I feel it explained it without making people feel stupid if they didn't know, while not patronising those who do know, basically. This is now out. That was really close to being a slap in the face. This book is now out, and if you like your contemporaries, if you like your sort of hard-hitting stuff, and you're maybe not, like, there is romance in this, but it's not a romance book, it's definitely more than that, then I'd say if you like things kind of like the Nowhere Girls, can't really think of other, probably anything by a Kemi Dawn Bowman, yeah, she would work. That sort of stuff, you would like this. I pulled out the Starless Sea, forgetting that I talked about this in my Average Joe January wrap up, but I listened to the Starless Sea and I love it just as much as I did before. Will Emma sneak that book into like every video? No, she won't, because she'll forget. So I did a thing in February. I did a thing that I was dreading doing and was kind of against doing, and I read Evelyn Hugo, The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, and I gave it 4 stars. Purely for those of you who are hearing impaired or just can't hear my mumbling, because I know my current life situation means that my captioning is, I'm not gonna lie, it's just not happening right now. I read The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo and I gave it 4 stars. Now, if anyone wants to, like, if anyone's wondering why I'm like sounding annoyed at that, it's because I really fucking hated Daisy Jones and the Six. That book was the worst however fucking long it took me to read. I only read it and finished it because I was asked to do it as like part of a focus group for the publisher. Literally, it was like 2018 I read that book, so like before anyone like really knew it existed, and they were like, oh, we want people to like tell us what you think, and I was like, this fucking sucks. And also around that time everyone's raving about this, so I was like, I don't fucking want to read this, but then I want a giveaway for this and something else. So both Joe and Cerys were like, read it, so I did, and I enjoyed it, and I only gave it 4 stars purely because I cannot bring myself to give it 5 stars. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, the whole like I feel like everyone knows about this book by now, but it's about Hollywood, right? It's fiction because it's one of those books where you can't really tell if it is or it isn't, but it's a fictional book about Evelyn Hugo, a Hollywood starlet, and her 7 husbands. She's also bi, which is like not a shock. Like, it's not used as like a plot twist because it happens very early in the book, but it's not like explicitly said, but like shouldn't really be using sexuality as a plot point at this point. So she's lesbian, no, she's bisexual because she married 7 men. It's gay. And if you didn't know that already, then I mean, I knew it before I went into it, so. But everyone talks about the sort of big shock, like why has she chosen Monique to write her biography? And honestly, I like didn't call it, I didn't see it coming, but like I wasn't surprised, and therefore it didn't get 5 stars. And yes, I'm being petty because of Daisy Jones and the Six, and yes, it's a really fucking bad thing to do, and the Taylor Jenkins Reid fans are gonna fucking come at me. Please do, because you know what, I don't care, because my opinion is really not gonna hurt her, because 1, I'm not telling her, and 2, she's pretty fucking successful without me helping, and quite frankly, I am not an influence on anybody. Well, maybe a few people, but nobody important enough to affect her life. So my penultimate read was They Both Die at the End by Adam Silvera, and I need to get the phone out. I gave this 5 stars. Okay, shook. I'm surprised I gave this 5 stars. No, I know why I did. It's because I listened to the audiobook and I really like. Not again. I listened to the audiobook and I really liked the narrators. I think I liked Mateo's narrator more, and I think there was like a third sort of impartial narrator, but like I don't know, I really liked this audiobook, so I think that's what bumped it to 5 stars. I think if I'd physically read it, it would have been 4. But this is about Mateo and Rufus, who live in a world where this app can tell you you're gonna die within 24 hours, and they both get the notification, or no, Deathcast, they call you. The app is a place you can go to like make friends, and they find each other and they live out their last day, and they both die at the end. So yeah. Do you know, people always say that like reading all the hyped and popular books is like annoying because you're just talking about what everyone already knows about, but like it does me a world of good because I don't have to explain plots, because I can't do it, which really bodes well as an aspiring. Sorry, I just had a workshop with Kira Melwood Hargrave, who I've been calling Quran for a very long time, which is the Muslim holy book. Obviously her name's Kieran, I think. Watch me, I've got it wrong again. Anyway, I had a workshop with her last night, and she made it very explicitly clear that we do not say aspiring or trying to be, we are writers. And as a writer, the fact that I can't describe books does not bode well for pitching, synopsis writing, basically every part of writing except the actual writing of the book. And even then it's quite hard because I should kind of be able to explain the book to myself so I can write it. Tangent, last book I read for FEBrowsing for books. This book I was gifted by Cerys for my birthday, and I knew it was like her favourite book ever, and I mean if she hadn't picked this book, this was the book that I knew I was reading this month for Cerys, whether she picked it or not. If she hadn't picked it, I'd have been concerned. And that was An Absolutely Remarkable Thing by Hank Green. This freaking book, I didn't really know what to expect of it. You know, obviously we all know John Green and we all know his writing, we know what he does, but I didn't know what to expect from Hank, and I was so not surprised, I guess, like by what he wrote, but surprised by how much this book was like my sort of book. This was 5 stars for me. Very speculative. Basically these structures, sculpture things appear, well, to our main character, one appears in Manhattan in the middle of the night, and her and a friend do a video thing for it. They call it Carl, and the video goes viral. And it turns out like every city in the world, or like every major city, has one of these Carls. And she and I forgot her name. April, and I don't know, it's gonna annoy me, sorry. I'm gonna annoy myself by spending so much time trying to figure it out, but like, I need to know what his name is. Andy. Yeah, Andy. So, April and Andy kind of get shot to fame in the heart of this. They're kind of seen as like spokespeople for the whole thing, and it's just weird. I don't really want to say anything more because there's something within this book that I just love, and the idea of it I love. And when I spoke to Cerys when I got to that part of the book, we were just obsessed, and I adore it. This was supposed to be a standalone, but there is a sequel coming out in like June. Cannot wait. This was incredible. If anyone has read this and knows similar sort of books, I don't care if they're YA, I think this is considered adult, maybe it's considered YA, it's on the cusp, new adult, who knows. Just anything, literally, even if it's a fucking picture book, at this point I just need books like this. So this is probably the best recommendation I've ever had, and it wasn't even recommended to me, it was basically someone saying this is my favourite book, like, you better love it. So thank you, Cerys. Made my month. And I don't know how to function without this book in my life. Well, it's in my life, but like I'm not reading it, and it's hard. And there we have it. Those are all the books that I read for Browsing for Books. As I say, there are still plenty more that Cerys picked out. Some that I have since read in March, some that I'm going to be reading, some that I'm saving for other months of the year if somebody else pulls them out. Because basically, if people give me like 50 books to choose from, I can be like, what do I read? So if I can say, okay, they've picked 50 books, but like 5 of them are like books I associate with them, and these 5 have been picked by previous months I haven't read yet, then it's like, you know, makes sense to read them because not people pick them. Works in my head. So that is all I have for you guys today. Still don't know how to end a video. No, I do have an outro. I don't know how to segue into it, you know what I mean? So let me know if you've read any of these books, if you enjoyed them. As I said, absolutely remarkable thing, recommendation, similarity, thingies. Let me know. Please like the video if you liked it, comment. No, please comment on the video, like to, I forgot my own outro. Like the video, dislike the video, comment, subscribe, do all that stuff if you want, I don't know. And I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.